You know, there's a very known professor in New York City whose name I'll omit, and I always love mentioning his story because he struggled with faith for a long time, and he always talks to people about this. And he was an atheist, and he came back to Islam, and he says, I read a line for Muhammad Iqbal, and it just shut me down, and all my research was finished, and I said, there's no running from this.
Well, this must be a pretty good line if it convinced this hypothetical unnamed atheist.
Muhammad Iqbal, rahimahullah, he says, sure, you can deny God, but how do you deny Muhammad? Alayhi salatu wassalam.
Oh, so you can deny the all-knowing, all-loving creator of the universe, but you can't possibly deny this one man who nobody alive has met, who lived over 1,000 years ago. Yeah, that's a pretty good line.
In other words, sure, you can be immature and say, I'm not going to believe in something I don't see. Case closed, stop talking to me, right? But how do you deny someone who lived in the flesh here, who God communicated with?
One of those two statements is verifiable. I'll leave you to guess which one.
How do you deny the reality of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam? How do you explain that? We need to revisit that.
How do I deny that a violent yet charismatic merchant warlord gathered a cult-like following which spread out across the world to become one of the world's dominant religions? That could never possibly happen. It's unheard of. Oh, wait.
How does a man get born in a vicious environment, alayhi salatu wassalam, and he becomes this beautiful, soft, delicate, bashful, merciful person?
Apart from all the times when he wasn't and decided to be a barbaric, merciless, murderous slave owner?
Who was content when people couldn't even be patient, and was merciful when people couldn't even be just. And he was gentle with kittens, and he praised people for taking care of animals.
Except dogs, of course. Dogs can go fuck themselves. Am I right, Muhammad?
And then on the battlefield, he's on the front lines. And the tough guy is the one that can stand by his side. Or the brave person, more respectfully, because these are the Sahaba. Right? Al-Bara and Ali. They say the tough one is someone that could come near him. He's on the front lines, alayhi salatu wassalam.
Yeah, that seems a reasonable level of respect for a provincial warlord to command.
How do you explain someone who's like that, of valor, and then he stops the army, as Ibn Mas'ud says, or he says we were on a travel, and he says, who scared this pigeon regarding her babies? Who took the babies away? How do you explain that?
Not becoming angry over seemingly random things is a good way to instill fear in your soldiers. They never know what they could do to upset you, so they always do their best to follow your commands. Not unheard of.
How do you explain the only person in human history that has ever removed racism from society successfully?
Unless you're talking about his relationship with the Jewish people.
And I think you know it's alive and well in the United States. The only person in human history that has ever removed alcoholism effectively.
The mark of a great leader, not allowing your troops to have fun.
That has suffocated the institution of slavery until it dwindled and people benefited from their freedoms and enjoyed them.
Apart from those slaves that he owned personally, and all the prisoners of war that became slaves that his troops took during their various military operations.
How do you explain that he, alayhi salatu wassalam, becomes the most influential figure in human history? Alayhi salatu wassalam. How do you explain that? We need to come back and find shelter in these things. There's only one explanation. There's only one logical explanation.
Yeah, but there isn't, though. And it's a pretty vast leap to go from he was a charismatic individual to he was under the divine protection and guidance of the Almighty. You're going to have to present a lot more evidence than that if that is your proposition. Thanks for watching, everyone.
All right, I can see